Cheryl!
Now what? If anyone makes fun of me, I'll kill him! Just like
So like the robot I am, today we're going to be talking about,
Yep, you guessed it.
old ass horror games. Now if you take a look over at the syllabus, it says episode 22, Doom 3. What? You didn't get a syllabus? Oh, I'm sorry, here, let me grab one for you. There's nothing there, it's a blank piece of paper. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, Doom 3, Doom, Q? Doom, a name synonymous with first-person shooters. We've all played the OG Doom. I fucking love those games and all that nostalgia goodness. But Doom 3? Doom 3 is such a sweet fucking game. Not only as an action game, but as a horror game too. It managed to blend horror with the craziness of Quake 3.
Crazy enough, this game is pretty damn scary. Seriously, I mean it. This shit terrified me when it first came out. Granted, I was like 10 years old when it came out in 2004. Sure, most of the main scares are jump scares, but damn, this game is just one tense ass experience. Originally released August 3rd, 2004 for the PC and in April for the good old fashioned Xbox. It has an updated version for the PC called the BFG edition, adding the extra DLC, well, not DLC, but you know, DLC. Better graphics and sound. Doom 3, back when I remember it was coming out, was the fucking future, man. I remember when my dad got that thing going up on his computer and we just sat there in the dark, all shitting our pants and marveling at the graphics. It was the hypest shit.
Good times. I remember when Doom 3 came out and I was fucking floored by the graphics. Modern games now with their Euclidean geometry and their HD resolutions. Back in its heyday, Doom 3 wasn't nothing to fucking laugh about. But now it looks pretty damn old. But graphics are graphics. How's the game part of the game? Good goddamn! Get ready for an adrenaline rush, baby! Woo!
Super Turbo Turkey Puncher. Breathe.
Doom 3 is possibly one of my favorite shooters. At the very least, it's up there in the top 10. That being said, Painkiller is probably closer to being my favorite, but we'll talk about that fucking beast later. There are a lot of shooters out there, and there are a bunch of horror games too. And most of those games don't even come close to being as fun and intense as fucking Doom 3. The OG Doom was such an over-the-top, loud, metal fucking game. From the Metallica butt metal to the difficulty names to wielding a fucking chainsaw. What a rip-roaring time. So, Doom was always more of a straightforward, what you see is what you get kind of game. That is, until 2002 rolls around and a crazy fucking E3 demo shows up. I vividly remember the bathroom scene with Pinky and just being fucking amazed. Everything I'd known about Doom had just changed. Doom had a new face. Horror.
So when this new image change came about, I really didn't think much of it at the time. Looking back on it now, it didn't do so much of a complete 180. I mean, you could argue the first games were somewhat horror, but they're more of that Megadeth thrash metal kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? Despite its new look though, Doom 3 is still an action shooter, and it's fucking nuts.
Now, one thing that happens a lot when mixing crazy action and horror, you tend to get weird mechanics in a game that end up detracting from either the action or the horror. And somehow, they pulled it off in Doom 3. Games like Resident Evil 4, which kept the tank controls and really small field of view in what is mostly an action game. Resident Evil 4 has a creep me atmosphere occasionally, but I consider it more of an action game more than I do a horror one. Keeping the limited inventory and small field of view only detracts from the action part of it. It's a weird choice, but that's what can happen when mixing the two types. My point is, Doom 3 does only one thing to inhibit the actual control and playability of the game. Yes, the flashlight. Now, most action first-person shooters have you just toggle the flashlight on and off at the whim of a button press. But it was thinking horror equals dark. And I mean, they're not wrong, just not really right either. I will say, having to switch between your only light source and your weapons is a bit annoying at times, but I really like what they were going for. I found that having to switch between the two really did create tense-ass moments that resulted in me shitting myself more often than I'd like to admit. The other 50% of the time was just me getting annoyed because I took damage just switching between the two. I liked their idea, just needed to make the switch a bit quicker. Now they did mitigate this somewhat by giving you an attack while having the flashlight out, but I think a better choice would have been to have the handgun in one hand and the torch in the other. Only the handgun would be able to be equipped simultaneously though. Therefore you still have a ranged weapon, but are still at a disadvantage. That, or if they just sped up the animation a bit, I think it would have been received a lot better. Besides the darkness obscuring your vision and the spooks, this game is still a balls to the walls shooter. Get ready for me to get hype. This game is one of the most satisfying shooters out there. This is a perfect blend of nail-biting tension and heart-pumping adrenaline. The enemies are all quick and agile. They look imposing as hell, but their agility forces you to be equally as quick. It has always produced fucking great first-person shooters, but I find this, next to Quake 3, as one of my favorites from them. Just look at this! Crouching, jumping, sidestepping. There's just so much involvement and dedication to the encounter.
This is a video game!
Everything is just so good. Only other thing that could improve this would be adding melee. Like a fucking roundhouse.
You think anybody wants a roundhouse kick to the face while I'm wearing these bad boys? Forget about it.
The shotgun is one of the best of any game. The way it looks, how it reloads, how it sounds, everything sounds just so fucking good. The metallic chink of the slide cocking back, oh baby! That kickback makes you feel like pure power. God, I'm so fucking pumped for Doom 4. Sorry, lost my composure. You know you do something right when you make picking up items sound so fucking cool. Getting armor is like the sound of a deep exhale mixed with like vapor being vented out. Oh, it's so good. The combat is just so fast-paced, chaotic, and satisfying. The weapons are all really cool and the redesigns are great. The submachine gun looks fucking ugly, but that's about it. Sounds real cool.
Calling Doom 3 scary is almost true. It's not really that scary, but has such a brutal atmosphere. But with not really much getting in the way of you being Ronnie Coleman with chain guns mounted to your traps, how do they make the game scary? Erratic lighting, jump scares, and atmosphere, baby.
The game isn't really too scary as much as it is adrenaline pumping. Now, in any good horror game, where does most of the fear come from? The two big ones are atmosphere and sound. Now, for being an action game, the atmosphere is fucking brutal. They did such a great depiction of this like rural Martian research facility. The whole aesthetic is this like heavy industrial space refinery. It is fucking awesome. Of course though, Doom 3 is famous for its good lights, and is totally deserving of the praise it got. In 2015, the lighting still looks damn good. Sure, there aren't any soft shadows, but it's still the best part of the atmosphere. Seriously though, they're lighting. Impressively, most of the shadows are real time, which allows for shit like this. In a game where you can't have your flashlight out with your weapon, you're super dependent on ambient lighting. Half the time you're fighting in dark areas where you have to calculate the trajectory of where your enemies are. It kind of plays out like a game of Battleship, where you get a quick notion of where they are, but it's back to being blind. It also makes the encounter super intense. Sometimes lights strobe or flash in a wide array of less than welcoming colors. There are plenty of jump scares, and a good chunk of them are effective. For me, the scariest moments are the ones where you'd be stumbling around in the dark, and you just hear this sound. And then it's an intense rush to find the source.
Fruit's burning.
It has never been known for the storylines, and in Doom 3, that's about right. This is Doom though. The story they supply is honestly way better than what we expected. So your Marine,
Took your sweet time, Marine.
Marine, arriving aboard this Martian research base as a replacement. Once arriving, you overhear the science man and the other boss guy bicker about the budget being too small for a better work crew and conditions. So the first thing you do is go in search of the missing crew member. You find him and it turns out he's been trying to send out a transmission to warn the UAC of this crazy shit that's been going on. This is literally hell breaking loose. You can't get more literal than this. The doctor guy we saw at the beginning has been doing risky teleportation experiments that, whoopsie, opens a portal to hell. They go into the hell portal and bring back this innocuous cube. That cube, well, that's the Soul Cube, and that allows hell to invade the facility. The doctor is super evil, wants to bring this shit to Earth. Come on, man, we don't need that. You beat the cyber demon, reinforcements arrive, and the doc is shown to be a big, scary monster demon. Oh. The story is fine and fits well with the game's style. There are extra PDAs lying around helping give you more backstory, but are totally optional. One disappointment though were the hell segments. Yes, they are cool, but not as awesome as I'd hoped they would have been. Plus, there just wasn't enough of them. Need more! The DLC pack, which I'd never played until this review, is actually really fucking cool. I'm a bit upset I never actually got to play this until now. There are two of them. The first one, called Resurrection of Evil, was released a year after the original game for the PC and again, the Xbox. It finishes up the story, adds new levels, brings back the double barrel shotgun, yeah boy! And adds some new multiplayer maps and game types. The story wasn't keeping me up at night, not getting closure, but I think these together are awesome. Now the BFG port has an exclusive add-on called The Lost Mission. It's more Doom 3, so that's cool. I mean, it was definitely tiring after playing Doom 3 and Resurrection of Evil, but it's still a cool addition regardless. Apparently, these are just cut levels from Doom 3 though. I did not know. Today I learned.
There is multiplayer, and yep, you guessed it. It's Quake multiplayer in Doom. It's great, mate. I rate 8 out of 8. Now, it got the start on the PC, so the PC port's obviously the best, but I still want to talk a little bit about the Xbox port.
So, the Xbox port was released almost a year after the PC, ported by Vicarious Visions. This is really an interesting port. First and foremost, the port looks fucking good. It's really impressive that the game has a decent frame rate for the most part, and even outputs 480p widescreen. I mean, with the availability, I don't really recommend the Xbox port, but it's still cool to own and really showcases the Xbox's power. Now, there are two different PC versions. You have the OG PC release, which is the one I have, or the BFG edition, which I also have. The original PC version is fine, but without fucking with some INIs, it's not gonna get up to even 1080p. Plus, you don't even get the DLC. The BFG version has all the DLC, including the original Doom and Doom 2, and has more modern hardware support and better graphical options. They also made the change of putting the flashlight on a timer instead of switching between the two. As much as I wanted to be like, good fucking riddance, it ends up kind of removing some of that intense spook factor. But all in all, makes the game a bit more functional. I only wish they would have made it an option to either have the timer or the inability to have anything else. It's kind of like the widescreen crop in The Evil Within. I like it, but it totally affects the playability. The game looks pretty damn good in the BFG port, but looks even better with the HD mod. By today's standards, it looks pretty passable.
So, Doom 3. Do I really need to tell you about it? It's really a killer game. If you haven't played Doom 3 in a while, go back and do so. I honestly forgot how awesome the game was until playing it again for this review. It can get a little repetitive after a while, but it's nothing too terrible. So, for those who didn't like Doom 3, leave a comment and tell me about this weirdness. So until next time, we're getting to an awesome 3D polygonal adventure horror game with Laura. 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 Laura.